When I was a child, I had always felt a deep connection to the magical, the mystical, and the divine. I grew up in a Latin American Christian home where we feared God yet praised His excellence all in the same breath. Fearful to question Him, fearful to think of anything or anyone outside of Him. And despite my religious upbringing, I had tons of experiences in my childhood that could only be attributed to the magical and the unknown. I've had my fair share of supernatural encounters, and they were extremely prevalent in my younger childhood years. And around the age of 12, I began to feel this deep pit of shame within the belly of my soul, for I had committed the egregious sin of questioning God's existence. When I was 18, I picked up my first Rider-Waite deck, and I haven't turned back. I was open about my practice amongst my friends, but very much in the broom closet around my family. Even to this day, I really don't feel comfortable talking about my practice amongst my family, which can feel a bit unfair. But I will say that the rewards of my practice have been worth it. I truly believe witchcraft has saved my life. This practice has empowered me to connect to myself, the universe, and the divine in a way that feels so impactful and abundant. Though I struggle with depression and anxiety, my craft has opened the path for me to finally break free from generational and ancestral traumas. It's been a deeply healing, eye-opening journey, and I feel very much safe and at home in witchcraft. I no longer feel like a victim of circumstance, but rather an empowered individual who has the ability to shape my own destiny through magical workings and material action. This practice has led me to become a happier, more confident version of myself. Even my sex life has improved as a result, and I feel so much more connected to my own body and spirit than ever before. Witchcraft has given me a sense of purpose and belonging that I had so longly been searching for. It has allowed me to break free from the confines of my religious upbringing, and now I embrace a practice that feels authentic and empowering. Now that you know my story and journey to witchcraft, how about I give you some witchy tips for some beginner witches? These are kind of things that I wish I'd known before I started my witch journey, and I think these tips will kind of help you establish the fundamentals. I think these are just good foundational grounding steps to take when you're starting your witchcraft journey, and you can build upon these tips the more you get into your practice and the more you actually, practice your practice. But I hope these tips can help you out, so stay tuned. My first tip would be to research and double check your sources. The internet is a wonderful, wonderful place for learning about all things witchcraft, but just like any other subject, there is a lot of misinformation out there. I always recommend to double check your sources before implementing any new forms of practice. Not only is it integral to understand the tools and ingredients that you use in a working, but it's also important to make sure your practice is ethical and fair. You don't want to mistakenly partake in a form of closed practice that is not open to you, because you may offend some spirits, maybe some deities, and you'll also offend the people of the communities and cultures that partake in that practice. Also, building a foundation of education and information will not only add enrichment to your power, but it will also allow you to approach your practice from a well-meaning, respectful, and accurate perspective. I also try to read content that is challenging to my own beliefs to gain some perspective, because You don't know what you don't know. Also, this research has not only enriched my understanding of the craft, but it's made my spell work 10 times more powerful as I continue to be able to understand the tools and ingredients needed to supplement my intention. So keep your mind open to remaining teachable and hungry for knowledge and wisdom, and keep on reading. Do your research. As a beginner, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the influences of witches and witchcraft online, and the internet is beautiful in its way of which it can disperse information, making it accessible to almost anyone, but there's so much information about witchcraft that it can be like a bit overwhelming. Do you start with divination or astrology or herbalism? Should I call upon Aphrodite? It's a lot. And though ingredients, deities, and those other sources of power do allow you to create more powerful workings, it all starts from within. So, with that said, you are the magical conduit that is enforcing the workings. So, you need to make sure to master yourself first. Mastering the inner work and getting really in tune with yourself helps you build stronger intentions. If you want clearer, stronger intentions for powerful spell work, you need to do this. Strengthening your intuition enhances magical ability as it allows us to sense energies and forces that are present around us. When we connect to our intuition, we become more attuned to these energies and we are better able to work with them within our spell work and rituals. Intuition supplies insight and intuition fuels intention. My best advice for building intuition is through forms of practice like meditation, journaling, and shadow work. Document your intuition and examine the outcomes of when you finally listen to it. Begin having conversations with yourself in the form of visualization or journaling. You'll start to see your intentions grow stronger as a result, thus creating more powerful and successful workings. When I first started my practice with tarot, and what really amplified my readings to the point of success that they are now, was the simple small practices I wove into the fabric of my everyday. Things like meditation, journaling, visualization, manifestation, divination. My goal was to first master my intuition and inner gifts through my shadow work and meditation. Once I felt like I was more grounded within myself, then I went into learning about more advanced workings because I finally felt confidence in myself and my power to be able to call upon the energies needed for my outcome without fear or hesitation. Creating a sacred space and or altar for your practice just makes it easier to focus on the intentions of your work. The purpose of an altar can vary depending on any ancestral or cultural traditions you may follow, intentions you set, and outcome goals for your working. For me, I have my self-love altar, which is just behind me. But I have my self-love altar, which I use for self-love work, mirror work, and I also use it as my working altar for all of my spell work. I also have a few different altars dispersed around my apartment. If you're still in the broom closet, a small box containing tools and ingredients will work just as well. The point is to be able to have a place which feels connected to your practice to amplify your workings and provide a form of a safety net for your practice. A place where you feel like home in your practice, a place where you can go to and seek out solace, a place where you feel welcome as part of your practice, especially when you're in the broom closet and people can be kind of judgmental of it. I think having even a small sacred space, even if it's just like a little shoebox, that is totally fine to begin with. At least you'll have a place of safety where you can feel comfortable in your practice and to call upon the energies needed. Don't compare your practice to others. The thing that I love about witchcraft is that it's my practice, my craft, and it's totally unique to me. Comparison is truly, truly, truly the thief of joy, because it takes you out of your element and you begin to hyperfixate on what everybody else is doing. And I understand that you want to jump into like elaborate rituals and work with certain deities and ingredients, because it seems like every other witch on Witch Talk or TikTok or YouTube or whatever the fuck, that's what they're doing. But some of those workings are truly better suited for more advanced practitioners and witches. And as you learn, you may even find that the forms of magic that you thought you wanted to practice do not resonate with you at all. So focus on your practice, focus on your learning. And in turn, you will build the confidence to complete successful workings because you learn to supplement power from within. You learn to supplement power from yourself first. You do not need the external validation of other witches in order to have successful workings. What may work for one witch may not work for another. And as you grow within your practice, you begin to realize that literally everything matters in terms of ingredients, times of day, astrology, anything that you put into a working, essentially. It all matters. Matching your intention to the ingredients and the proper energies is very, very important in order to build powerful results. But correspondences between intent and ingredients, tools, and different energies are not always universal. There are nuances in the form of cultural, ancestral, and environmental understandings of tools, ingredients, and energies. And some practices are closed practices that you should not be partaking in. So just because someone else is doing something on TikTok does not mean that you should be doing it too. You will find your way through exploration of oneself. Perhaps you should explore your ancestry and lineage to see what paths are open for you. This comes with time, and this comes with consistency and constant education within your practice. So take it slow and focus on yourself and building your own unique practice up. Do not put anyone on a pedestal. This is your journey, not theirs. When you're first starting out, cleansings and protections all feel a little bit mundane and kind of like boring, but they are essential, especially when you're just starting out. Beginner witches usually lack the foundational understanding of certain spirits and workings, which is prime for trickster spirits, psychic attacks, and mistakes that can result in you pissing off a few entities. I've been there. So proper cleansing will ensure that you are ridding yourself and your magic of harmful energies. And protections will prevent those energies and entities from entering your practice to begin with. Protection magic may involve casting a protective circle around you and yourself or your space. You can utilize visualizations, incantations, singing, bells, or other techniques to reinforce protective energy. I always cleanse and protect before working, and I also cleanse my home and my space at least once a month. As you get more in depth in your learnings, you'll find that you probably have to cleanse and protect less because you're not really messing with energies that you're not unsure about because you're just more educated. So just when you're starting off, at least really be consistent and try to develop a routine that works for you in the time that you have available. Surround yourself with people who will support you in your practice. This can be anything from an actual formal coven to even an open-minded friend who will at least listen to you without judgments. That goes a long way. When I was starting out my practice, I felt very insecure in it, very shameful because of my religious upbringing. But luckily, I had a pretty good amount of friends who made me feel free in my practice. And even though they didn't really have the same belief systems that I did, they just kind of were there for me. And they were just like a person to hear me out and like all of my weird stuff. Like they could just like at least listen to me. I also had my boyfriend who's absolutely amazing. He is an atheist, but he's very, very respectful of my practice. He'll listen to me talk for hours and hours and hours about spell work and ingredients and herbs that I bought at the international market, and he'll just listen to me forever talk about like new mushrooms and just botanics and like all of this shit. You know, even though they don't really see eye to eye with me on the same beliefs, it's just the amount of respect that they have for me and for what I believe in, and the fact that they respect me enough as an individual to make me feel safe to talk about it without feeling like I'm going to be judged or cast aside. Even an online community is super, super helpful here. So finding a good amount of YouTubers that make you feel safe, I know that helps me a lot. I'll watch a lot of witches on YouTube and TikTok that I feel really, really safe with. That online community, even though they're not there face to face, even though you might not even have a one-on-one conversation with them, it's so helpful to just feel like you're not alone in this world in your practice. It really just makes you feel kind of held and safe within your own workings and in your own space. I think one of the first steps of establishing powerful workings as a witch is to connect with nature. And she is abundant in her powerful wisdom. And when you build a relationship with nature, you naturally become like hyper aware of the interconnectedness of all of the living beings that surround us. You just kind of start to realize like how much of nature plays a part in your day-to-day lives. I love spending time outdoors and observing the cycles of the moon. I'll even write letters to the moon and the sun from time to time. I like to see myself as a bit of an ambassador for the earth in my practice, and I try to work to promote environmental sustainability and conservation in my practice as well. Because like I find when you take the time to learn about nature and to listen to nature and respect her cycles and her elements, she will reward you in your practice through gifts to contribute to your workings. Things like branches will show up for wands, crystals for energy clearing, waters for manifestation, and so much more. Like the least we can do, because nature is so abundant for us, is to at least learn about her, try to connect with her, and pay our respects to her and thank her for providing us with so much. Nature is one of the biggest contributing factors to our existence. She provides us with the food we eat, with the water we drink, with the materials we use to build. So connect with her, respect her, and listen to her. She will reward you abundantly if you do. Baby, you're a witch, so get crafty. Get crafty and get resourceful. You probably have so many magical tools at your disposal already. You probably have like herbs in your kitchen, spices in your kitchen. Like you can literally start using that in your practice. You can start using that for workings. You probably have pasta jars. Clean them out, take the label off, use them to contain items that you forage, use them to contain items for spell work. You probably have a pen and a notebook somewhere. Start your grimoire, start your book of shadows, start journaling. Like you literally probably have so much at your disposal. And honestly, this is like a really, really good tool and an exercise of just feeling gratitude for what you have already, because like the moment you start to notice how much magical stuff that you already have around you, like the more you feel like the universe is just listening to you, and you just feel so abundant in that moment because you're like, wow, I have so much of magic kind of surrounding me. Like you're already kind of aligning yourself with the energy of attraction because you're aligning yourself with the energy of abundance. And you don't need fancy tarot cards. You don't need fancy divination boards and divination tools and pendulums and that sort of thing just yet. You can be resourceful and make things. You can use things from nature. You can use things in your house that you already have. You will get there in time. And while I do feel like there is some importance on having aesthetically pleasing tools, especially me as a Libra rising Leo stellium, like aesthetics are like everything to me. But I think the most important thing is to just like understand the way of which these tools are supposed to work for you. Then you can kind of figure out a way to either cultivate or gather tools that align more with your intention and what you're trying to draw in. But like you can just start with the basics now, and you can make so much work for you with what you already have. So get resourceful. You don't need the fanciest thing. You don't need what everyone on Instagram has. Like you probably already have so much at your disposal right now. Also, if you do want to start building your witchy alt arsenal and you're like kind of like on a budget, I love thrift stores. I thrift almost everything for my altars at thrift stores. Like the bowl for my money bowl was from thrift stores. I've thrifted cauldrons at thrift stores. I've thrifted candelabras, candles themselves, bells. Like there's so much you can find in a good thrift store. You can also forage, which is a great way to also connect with nature. You can also check out your local dollar store. Do not ignore the Dollar Tree. You can find a ton at the Dollar Tree. You can find jars, candles. I personally like to make a lot of my tools as well. I've made a wands for my practice. I've made my book of shadows, my grimoire. I've decorated it myself. I feel like when you make your own magical tools, you're kind of infusing your own energy into it, and it kind of like amps it up with your own power. I think a lot of my practice is me being my own source of power, because I am innately a powerful person. I feel like all of us are. It's just a matter of tapping into it. And though my deities and goddesses help me, though the energies and the elementals help me, and herbs help me, and like A lot of other things help me in my practice. I think the core of my practice, the reason why it's so successful and so powerful, is because I really do a lot of internal work and I focus on myself. And with all of that said, I wish you the best on your magical journeys. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, make sure to actually like it and hit that like button. Make sure to also subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.